Today in the woodyard, we're in the woodyard, but we're talking tractors. It's going to be fun. Here we go. So as a lot of you know, I have been tractor shopping, and it's been quite an experience, I must tell you. Good experiences and bad experiences, and we're going to talk about what I've gone through, what I'm looking at. We maybe even find out if I'm going to get a tractor soon. It is going to happen. So here's the story. I've gone to 6 different dealerships. I've looked at 9 different brands because some of the dealerships carry 2 different brands, and I've narrowed it down to 2. I have 2 that I'm real serious about. It's going to be one or the other, and I'm looking at several different factors that is going to be the reason that I make my decision to go with one versus the other. Number 1 is the color. No, I'm just kidding. It's not the color. The color doesn't matter to me at all. Number 1 is the brand. No, it's not the brand either. I'm not going with a brand just because it's the brand. I'm going with capability and the dealership. Those 2 things are probably my number 1 and number 2 requirements. I want to go with a tractor that has the capability to do what I want to do and to do it well and then some. So those are the things that matter the most. Number 3 is going to be price, which is something that everyone considers. And the tractor that is at the top of the list so far has capabilities that are pretty awesome. Number 1 thing I'm looking at is the lift capacity, because I'm going to be lifting logs and lots of logs. That is probably the number 1 thing that I want, is a tractor that has the capability to lift a lot of weight and lift it easily. Not it can do it, but it can do it. The one that I'm real serious about has, I think it's 3,300 pounds of breakaway force, or that's at 24 inches at the pivot point on the bucket, and it has a total capacity at height, which is as high as it'll go, of 2,700 pounds. So it's a serious, starting to get pretty much almost a mid-sized tractor. It's not a little weenie tractor like my brothers have. The capability is real important to me. I don't want something that I will look back later and say, I wish I would have got a bigger one, or one that can do more, has either more horsepower or more power with what it can do. The one I'm looking at, or 2 of them I'm looking at, I believe both of them have dual pumps on hydraulics, which afford the capability to lift a lot more than some of the other tractors. Both of them are cast throughout, so the weight is substantial. The 2 tractors, the 2 leading contenders that I'm looking at, I believe both weigh right around 4,000 pounds. Could be a little under, could be a little over, right around there. And with weighted tires is going to add 900 or 1,000 pounds, something like that. So I'll be right at about 5,000 pounds for the tractor. And I am going to weight the tires, because I'm going to be lifting with the bucket so much at height with weight that I want to have substantial ballast. So that's very important. I'm also looking at getting a grapple, and I'm probably going to get a single thumb grapple. I'm looking at, I believe it's a 60-incher. 60 inches wide, if I remember right. I think it's 60 inches. And it's either 2 or 3 prongs on the top, but it's a single cylinder top. And I looked at the double ones that have the double cylinders, which end up being pretty darn wide, and it adds a lot of extra weight. Instead of giving up that weight to the loader, I want to be able to, or to the grapple, I want to be able to have it where I can pick up bigger logs pretty easy. And I'm not going to be using it as a root rake or for picking up brush and stuff, which I will be able to do. I mean, I might occasionally do that, but it's not its main purpose. The main purpose is to lift logs. And I feel that I can get close enough to the center on a lift when I'm grabbing that a smaller, 4-foot to 6-foot range grapple somewhere. And I think the one I'm looking at is 60 inches actually. So That's one of the attachments I'm going to get right away. The other one is I'm going to get right away is going to be a scraper bar for the back, a 7-footer for moving snow, which I hopefully won't need for a few months, but that's one of the other attachments that I'm going to get right away. I'm also looking at putting on work lights, some LED bars up on the ropes, up on the rollover system, front and back, and I want to have them switched on the dash so I don't have to play around trying to figure out how to get them to work. I'm just going to have them put them on. They have some aftermarket things that I believe it's going to be around $100 per light and to have it all wired and everything. So that's what I'm looking at for the things I'm going to put on. Let's see. Block heater. I'm also putting a block heater on because my tractor is going to be outside. It's not going to be in a warm facility. It's going to be kept outside. When I get a tractor, I'm also looking at the possibility of getting some type of a little Quincy pop-up, the little pole shelters with the little tent type things that a tractor will fit into, and I'll be able to keep the tractor in there, lawnmower, and whatever tools that I use there. Well, log splitter. I'm going to get something so it's covered for the winter time and to keep it out of the sun. The sun and the rain, the elements can be harsh on equipment, and I want to keep them dry. So that's what I'm looking at, getting one of those also right after I get the tractor, soon after anyway. And now, probably the dealership I'm going to go with, I'm really leaning towards over one brand over the other. This particular dealership, the guy that I first talked to called me back right away as soon as they got in the tractor that I was kind of thinking about, which was today. He called me this morning and said, "Hey, we got one. If you want to come look at it, stop in any time. I'll be here." I've talked to 5 other dealerships in person where I actually talked to somebody. A couple places nobody even talked to me. I was just wandering around looking and never asked me a question. One of the places I went to, it was a very popular brand. That's all I'm saying. They wouldn't give me the time of day. And they have several locations around this area. So that kind of turned me off right there. That didn't impress me at all. This particular dealership, the one that I'm looking at, is literally 4 miles away. So it's down the road, just down the road, which is nice. They are also open for service 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. That's awesome. That is a huge benefit. They carry all parts in stock, and if they don't have it, they can get it usually within a day or two, he said. So that's also a huge benefit. The thing I liked best after talking to this particular salesman, it was no pressure whatsoever. He was like, "Yeah, it's a good piece of equipment you're looking at. It'll do what you described, what you want to do with it." And I asked him, I said, "Should I go bigger?" Which most salesmen would say, "Oh yeah, I'd recommend that right away." This guy's like, "Hey, really? I don't think so. For what you're going to do," he said, "more horsepower is not going to do you that much, of a benefit increase in what it can do." He said, if you were pulling a 2 or 3 or 4 bottom plow, yeah, then you'd want more horsepower. But I'm not going to be plowing with it. The most I might ever do for earthwork would maybe be a tiller, and he said a tiller doesn't affect it at all because it's actually helping you move forward. So he said a tiller won't affect you at all. Very low pressure, but yet, he made a couple suggestions. He said you might want to think of this or might want to think of that. He never pushed me at all in any certain direction, whether it was cost or size. He just said these are kind of some options, but he was very truthful, I thought, in saying this is probably what you should go with, or what he recommended. The dealership's growing very fast. The brand is growing very fast. So those are things I'm hopefully giving you some clues as to maybe what brand I'm going with. And again, I'm getting real serious. It's almost time to pull the trigger. So maybe within a video or 2 or 3, you'll be seeing me driving around on a tractor doing my imitation of Oliver Wendell Douglas. The only other thing I didn't mention is this place has multiple locations of their dealership. The multiple locations is a very good thing because obviously if one place doesn't have a part, the other place might, or I could take it there if I had to. And the other dealership is not that far away, owned by the same people. So that's a possibility that would be a benefit to me. I got a price quote. The tractor by itself with nothing on it is going to be about $22,000. I've been looking at tractors in the 35 to 40 horsepower range. That's where I'm at. That's the size. And like I said, I asked him about getting a larger one, and he said for what I'm doing, he didn't think I would need to. Excuse me, and because I also didn't want to get a tractor that wasn't maneuverable enough in the wood yard. I want something that's small but not too small. I don't want something that's bigger but not too big. So those are the things that I'm looking at. But overall, I think I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a fun time coming up. We're going to see a lot of tractor work very soon in the wood yard. So now I'm going to give you a little visual as to what I've been looking at. Here's one. This is a nice tractor, don't you think? This is one that I'm actually considering. It's a pretty good one. Here's another one I'm considering. Nice color, isn't it? Here's another one I'm considering. Blue's pretty. But I think that might be a girl tractor. I'm not sure. There's a girl on it. Maybe I have to get a different one. I'm not sure. Here's another one I'm considering. Here's another one that I'm considering. Another orange one. Here's another one that I'm considering. Another red one. Red seems to be a popular color. Oh, and then there's green. Look at that. Green. It's like Packer colors. Ooh, nice. So those are the tractors I'm considering. Now, I have eliminated all but two, like I had mentioned. So there are two that are still in the running. I would tell you the colors, but it would spoil the fun. Oh, maybe I should just tell you the colors. How's this? I'll give you a little teaser. One color is red. The other color is orange. Yes, the green has been eliminated. I'm so sorry, guys. So those are the two colors I'm down to, red and orange. But that's not much of a help, I know, because there's a lot of red ones and there's a couple orange ones. But anyway, there you go. That's it. Those are the colors. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Please hit the buttons. You know what to do. And I will see you tomorrow. And between now and tomorrow, you need to get outside and you need to do some cutting of some wood. So get a cutting. Good night, Irene.